Okay, hello everybody. Good morning, good evening, and welcome to the AI-driven programs product strategy introductory webinar with Northwestern Kellogg Education. This is the information session for the program. And before we begin, we'll just be waiting maybe a few seconds for everybody to join. But in the meantime, if you want to use the chat box to tell us your name and where you're joining from, and if you have any questions related to the program throughout the webinar, please put them in the Q&A box because it's easier for us to manage them rather than in the chat. And yes, we'll just be waiting. We'll just be beginning in a minute. I see Mark from Paris. Welcome, Mark. Nice to have you here. Kailash from the UK. Welcome, welcome. Very nice. And we have, I think, one more, Julia from Austin, Texas. Excellent. Okay, welcome everybody. And yes, let's begin. So, a quick introduction on who you will be hearing from today. I am Jessica Cervi. I am here as a moderator for Emeritus, and we have as well Professor Moanbir Sahani, and he will take the lead in a few slides to tell you more in detail about what this program is about. Before we begin, let's go over the agenda. So I will begin by talking about Kellogg Executive Education, telling you about the institution by the numbers, some things about the program, who was this program designed for, what are the course learning objectives, and then Professor Sahani will take it to introduce himself and go in details about the curriculum. So he will explain week by week what to expect during the course and which case studies you will see in the course. And then I will take it back to talk about some of the key program features, the certificate, fee and financing options, and we'll address all of your Q&A at the end of the session. All right, so about Kellogg Executive Education, it's not a secret that Kellogg is one of the world leading school for business, which brings a blend of theory and practice. And it focuses on empowering businesses leaders to foster growth in themselves, their team, and their organizations. And it's, of course, world renowned for its faculty that consist of the world best researchers, educators, and practitioners. Some numbers by Kellogg. Kellogg has over 65,000 alumni across over 120 countries. As founded, Kellogg has 19 alumni that are currently serving as CEOs of Fortune 500 organizations. And organizations funded by Kellogg's and students and alumni have raised more than 19 billion US dollars in the last 10 years. And finally, it has 7 campuses in its premier executive MBA network. So, what does set Kellogg apart? Well, on this slide, you can see 3 points that describe this. The first is its thirst for creativity and innovation. Inside and outside the classroom, Kellogg students leverage inspiration to try something unconventional or risky. It's a platform for a true exchange of ideas. When Kellogg students enroll in their courses, they tend to collaborate. They tend to debate and exchange ideas, and that this creates a wonderful opportunity to network and create an inclusive community that embraces the notions of our difference and strength. And finally, it has an eye towards empathy. Kellogg's prepares you with to be a different type of leaders that focuses and strives on understanding others' perspective to create a sense of trust across cultures and communities. So, what is the program that you're to hear about today here for? The AI-driven program strategy program is an 8-week online course from Kellogg Executive Education that empowers you to understand the entire product life cycle. So, from vision to discovery and go to market for AI products. It empowers professionals to understand the cycle of AI products, so how they are designed and how up to the deployment. And throughout the program, the participants will actively use Gen AI tools and signature and modern frameworks to tackle product challenges. So some numbers that came out from the programs: about 69 of product managers are most excited about the increased use of data and AI in product manager. About 50% of organizations are considering hiring dedicated AI product managers to support integration of Gen AI in product workflows. And about 40, it has been observed about a 40% increase in product managers' productivity after they've learned how to use Gen AI tools for content-heavy tasks. So it's really not a secret that understanding how the Gen AI cycle works and being able to leverage these technologies can bring great benefit to your organization. So, who is this program designed for? Many, many different type of individuals. The first one are senior product leaders that perhaps want to formalize the success with portfolio and monetization strategies, and by understanding Gen AI capabilities. This program is also designed for mid-level to senior product manager that are looking to shift from reactive execution to strategic product leadership. It's also designed for professionals from product marketing, data and analytics, as well as engineers and consultants that are aiming to pivot their formal product or strategy role by understanding the cycle of a product with AI first mindset. It's also a program that is useful for technical professionals that are looking to understand the gap between engineering expertise and strategic product management. And finally, for aspiring product leader that are focused on driving growth with data-backed decision, AI-driven insights, and proven frameworks. Some of the course learning objectives that were used as a foundation to design this course. So by the end of this program, you will be able to design a product vision and strategy that aligns with corporate goals and motivates organizational alignment. You will also be able to understand the customer needs and the market dynamics to uncover and validate high potential opportunities. You will also be able to create user-centric product experiences by leveraging AI tools for design and testing, and to apply product-led growth strategies to optimize acquisition, retention, and expansion. And finally, you will be able to evaluate communication and influence strategies to strengthen stakeholders' alignment and decision-making. I will pass it on now to Professor Sohani here to introduce himself.
Thank you, Jessica, and good morning, folks. And I'm joining you from Chicago to tell you about this program, which is really kind of completely redesigned and reconceptualized in the age of AI. Because as you know, I've been teaching product management for 20 years. I've trained thousands of product managers, but I've never been more excited about the discipline of product management than I am today because of the transformative potential of AI to change the way products are built and what goes into the product. So it's sort of like AI in the product and AI for the product. So it's actually a very interesting time where, with the use of generative AI and agentic AI tools, we can amplify productivity so quickly. And in fact, as product managers, you can now bleed into other areas of expertise. You can do UX design. You can do, even coding or engineering. You can define user requirements. You can define, the development criteria, user stories, and so on. So, and you can do this very, very quickly. So it's a very exciting time. This program has been around for a while, but it is completely reconceptualized this year for an age of AI-driven product strategy. Now, a little bit about me. I've been at the Kellogg School since 1993, and over this time of over more than 3 decades, I teach MBA classes, I teach executive MBAs. As I told you, I've been teaching the product management course for over 15 years, both to my MBA classes and my executive MBA classes. But I also do a lot of executive education. I do a lot of online programs, and the online programs that I've created over the past several years since 2018 have now enrolled more than 36,000 students from over 118 countries. And I have about 15 of these programs, 3 in the product domain. One is a certificate program called Professional Certificated Product Management. This program, which is an 8-week product strategy program for mid-career executives, and a C-level program that we call the Chief Product Officer program that is meant for product leaders. So, and besides the teaching that I do, I also work very closely with technology companies, both small and large. Companies like Microsoft, Salesforce, Adobe, and Meta and Google and so on. These are all companies that I've worked with over the years, have trained their product managers and product marketers over the years. I also work in advisory and board capacities with uh, tech companies, both small and large. I served on the board for 10 years at Reliance Jio, which is the world's largest wireless network and digital services company. And currently, I'm advising over 8 startups. And in fact, I am the co-founder of 2 startup ventures. One is a venture called Yugamastra, where we are building a agentic framework for intelligent product work to stand up basically digital product managers, agentic product managers. And another venture called Pedagogics, where we are building a generative AI-based platform for teaching and learning. So I actually love product stuff. This is what I eat, live, and breathe every day. I've written a lot of case studies, over 50 case studies, including 21 bestsellers. I speak and consult and advise with a lot of Fortune 500 companies. And I bring all this passion, all this expertise, all this over 3 decades of experience to this program, to this course. So moving on, let me tell you a little bit about the curriculum. So this is the learning journey that you're going to be on over 8 weeks. The program consists of 8 modules. And the first module, we're going to begin with the big picture, which is the product vision, strategy, and leadership. Then we're going to start approaching the domain of product management from the inbound stage and then go towards the outbound. So in the inbound stage, we begin with opportunity analysis and discovery of products. Then we get to the product design, user experience design, agile development. Then we talk about how you build product roadmaps and how do you do product planning and manage product portfolios. Then we get to taking a product to market, the go-to-market strategy or GTM, as well as this new idea of product-led growth, which is a new GTM motion that has been founded by digital natives. We will get into deep dive on product pricing, packaging, and monetization, a very, very important area, particularly as generative AI and agentic AI change the conventional SaaS-based pricing models, which have been based on subscription. It's not enough to just build a product. Next, you got to figure out how to continue to grow it and evolve it. That's what Module 7 will consist of. And finally, last but not the least, is soft skills, communication and influence skills for product managers. So that is the learning journey, the story arc that you're going to go through over 8 modules. Now let's dig into each of these modules in a little bit more detail. So starting with module 1, this is the agenda setting or the foundational module, which really helps you to understand what is the landscape, right? What is product management look like? What is product vision? What is product strategy? What is product leadership? We'll go through product strategy frameworks, such as the famous Salesforce framework called V2MOM, which is visions, values, methods, obstacles, and metrics, and a framework that I have created, which is I call the product strategy canvas, which is an evolution of the V2MOM framework that in one framework tells you about vision, strategy, and culture, and as well as implementation details. So we'll understand what is the difference between product vision and product mission. How do you define product strategy frameworks? Then we look at the domain of product management. The product manager role consists of many flavors and many distinctions. There's product marketers, there's product managers, there's technical product managers, there are program managers. So we need to understand what are the roles, responsibilities, reporting relationships, and sort of this yin yang between inbound product management, which is product creators, and outbound product management or product marketing, which is product commercializers. We'll look at those two roles and how they complement each other. And finally, we'll conclude with talking about what excellence looks like in product management. What are the skills that you need? What is the knowledge that you need? What are the personal capabilities that you need? And we will conclude with a look at how product management is evolving or changing in an AI-powered world where you have all these powerful tools at your disposal. What are the new skills and the new capabilities that you need? Because I believe that product managers will become more orchestrators and less executors, because the execution will be done by AI. And an observation about AI is that I have woven AI through this entire program. So you will not see any separate module, which is AI in product management. No, it is incorporated and integrated into the entire curriculum, because I don't think AI should be a bolt-on. It should actually inform everything that you do as a PM. So let's go to module 2. So in module 2, we start the formal process and workflows and jobs to be done for product management. All products start as an opportunity. So we will begin by talking about what is a product opportunity. What are the 3 legs of the stool of a product opportunity? A product opportunity needs to be a customer problem that is real, a solution approach that is superior to whatever else is out there, as well as a commercial logic or monetization framework that makes sense. So these are the 3 pillars of design thinking principles: the desirability, the feasibility, and the viability. So we'll look at how we define product opportunities. Then we'll look at where do opportunities come from? What are the listening posts? What are the signals that the market sends us that tells us there's an opportunity? So we'll look at different sources of product opportunities, whether it's competition or your sales force or competitive monitoring or customer observation or analogies or anomalies or customer pain points and so on. Then we will introduce a very powerful framework that will become actually the backbone for much of the discussion later, and that is the idea of jobs to be done. So I really believe that instead of worrying about, what product you want to build, you should think about what problem you want to solve for your customers. So the jobs to be done framework is a very good way of understanding customer problems and what customers want to accomplish, what outcomes you want to enable for them. Once you've understood where opportunities come from, what they look like, we will then talk about how you analyze or evaluate opportunities. We'll provide you simple frameworks like the real win-worth model, which look at, is it real? Is the opportunity real? Can we win? Is it something that we can do better than competition? And is it worth it? Remember the 3 pillars that we talked about: desirability, feasibility, viability. We have to assess opportunities on these 3 dimensions. Then we will sort of talk about how we articulate or communicate a product opportunity through a product brief. or an opportunity brief, and other tools like a solution resume or a vision press release. The next part of this module will talk about how we go from problem to solution, right? So far, we've been talking about opportunities, but then we need to convert those into a product hypothesis, right? So we have a opportunity hypothesis, which we framed as a solution resume or a vision press release or an opportunity brief. We now need to go into the discovery process to discover a product that will solve that customer problem. So this will lead us to the discovery iterative process of product discovery. And here we will actually have a set of discovery hypotheses that we need to test and validate before we get to ultimately the MVP or the minimum viable product. And here we will also talk about how generative AI tools can be used very, very productively in all these stages, whether it is conducting market analysis or whether it's defining the ideal customer profile or sizing opportunities and so on. So, and by the way, in every module, you're going to have an assignment that speaks to that module. So for instance, in this particular module, you will do part one of your capstone or an assignment that will go throughout the program. And here you're going to assess the market opportunity, size the market opportunity, and create your discovery hypotheses, your ideal customer profile, and draft the entire opportunity hypothesis and refine it using AI. That's module 2. Moving on, in module 3, we go from MVP or minimum viable product to actually building the product, designing the product. So this is where we'll talk about product design, user experience, user interface design, as well as the process of product development, which is the agile process. So we will begin by talking about how we create persona, how we build wireframes and prototypes, and how do we do testing, and how generative AI tools can be used very, very comprehensively across all of this process. Generative AI does a great job of generating persona. Ideally, persona are generated based on the customer data that you provide it, as well as building wireframes and prototypes. We'll talk about product design and the classical double diamond design process, as well as the methodologies for product development, such as Scrum and Kanban, which are agile development methodologies. Now, how do we actually start to describe a product? We describe it in terms of user stories, epics, and themes. This is what product managers build. So we'll discuss what a user story is, what an epic is, what a theme is, and how do you actually construct these. What is the format and framework and approach that you use to write user stories, and the agile product requirements. By the way, again, generative AI tools, even something as simple as using ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, can do a great job of constructing user stories and epics and themes based on the discovery work that you've done. So in this case, you're actually going to build a requirements document or an Amazon style, press release / FAQ document based on the user stories. Moving on to the fourth module, we're going to talk about how we actually then start to plan for building the versions of the product and do the product planning and road mapping. Because, products are not built in one release. They're not built in one instance. It's not a one-shot deal. It's a journey. And that's what a product roadmap is, right? So it's really, you need to define what are the steps in the evolutionary process and what are the different release themes and sequences, and how do we build product roadmaps that are customer-centric, that are centered around jobs to be done and not just a laundry list of features that you want to build. So we'll talk about building strategic product roadmaps and how do you use AI to tailor roadmaps, to develop roadmaps for different audiences, whether it's in executives or engineering or external facing roadmaps for customers, and how do you prioritize and make trade-offs in coming up with your roadmap, because roadmaps are also a statement of priority, right? What are we going to build? What are we not going to build? What are we going to build today? What are we going to build in the future? All of those themes need to be articulated in your roadmap. And in this assignment, we're going to actually do something interesting with you. We're going to give you a kind of a bad roadmap, which is a feature-centric roadmap, which is not just a feature. And your task is to actually convert it into a thematic roadmap with clear release strategies. And here you're going to use AI to learn how to do this, to go from features to benefits or themes or jobs to be done, but also realize the limitations of AI. Because it's very important to understand that AI can't solve the whole problem for you. It will get you 80% of the way, but not 100%. That's where you add value as the human being. So this is about how you build the product plan and product roadmaps. All right, in module 5, we are now ready to take the product that we've built and get into the market. So until module 4, we've been focusing on what I call product creation. Module 5 onward, we're going to talk about product commercialization. So this is where we will focus on GTM, or go-to-market strategy. Go-to-market strategy is the entire strategy blueprint and execution blueprint that tells you what are the steps and the jobs to be done in taking a product to market and making it commercially successful. We'll talk about the elements of a GTM plan that includes your target audience, your ideal customer profile, the customer journey, the value proposition, the positioning, messaging framework, the readiness, internal and external, the commercials and the pricing strategy and the SKU plan of record. These are all elements of your GTM plan. By the way, when we talk about go-to-market approaches, the traditional approach has been what we call the account-based management, or ABM approach, where we go after larger customers with sales teams, enterprise sales teams. But there is a new motion that is becoming very popular, and that is PLG, or product-led growth. Product-led growth comes from digital native startups who didn't actually have a sales organization. So they just built products that were so easy to adopt, so easy to onboard customers, so easy for them to discover features, so that the product itself sells itself. That's why it's called product-led growth. So we'll talk about this PLG motion and how you enable your product to become its own salesperson. So we obviate the need for a sales organization. We'll dig deeper into how, when you build these product-led growth strategies, how can you build growth loops? How can you build virality so that you start to build products that are habituating or habit forming, and you start to build sort of flywheels that create more and more deeper and sticky engagement with your customers. So, and in your assignment, you're going to actually design a GTM plan. And in this GTM plan, we're going to push you to think about product-led growth elements like customer activation, customer acquisition, or customer expansion. And we're going to actually use AI to simulate some of these and build some of these elements of your GTM plan. In module 6, we're going to talk about something that I think product managers need to pay a lot more attention to, and they're not very good at this. In fact, I've seen many companies that actually lose a lot of money on pricing. They lose money in pricing because they have not optimized their SKU strategy. They have not optimized their pricing. It's sort of made up on the fly. So this module emphasizes the fact that it is not enough to just create value. It is important to capture some of that value for yourself, and that is pricing and packaging and monetization. So we're going to look at what are the different pricing models for products. By the way, if you look at the software industry, it has gone through many generations of evolution. It started with the upfront licensing model, or the perpetual licensing model. Then SaaS came along in the early 2000s, and that was the idea of pricing based on subscription. Now, with generative AI and AI-based models, we're starting to see transaction-based or usage-based pricing models. And ultimately, we'll evolve towards outcome-based pricing models, which are gain-sharing or risk-sharing models. So we'll look at the evolution of these different models and what are the trade-offs, and when do you switch and how to use different kinds of models together. We'll focus more deeply on the SaaS or subscription model, look at the different metrics and what are the drivers of success, and how do you make a SaaS business more viable, more profitable. We'll also look at how do you optimize prices, how do you design SKUs. SKUs are different versions of your product, and ideally these SKUs should speak to specific customer segments. So you shouldn't just randomly come up with different versions of your product. They should be very intelligently mapped to your customer segmentation strategy, as well as what is packaging. Packaging is the feature bundles that you put into each of these SKUs. That also has to be thought through very intelligently. What is the upgrade path? What are we going to put in the enterprise SKU that we're not putting in the small business SKU or the consumer SKU? So getting your packaging and pricing right is critical for your profitability and viability as a technology business. So here we are going to actually, in your assignment, pick a pricing model and a monetization strategy. You're going to come up with these bundle designs and structures, and you're going to use AI to optimize the pricing and monetization framework. Module 7 focuses on the idea that as a product manager, you're not just going to create a product and be done with it. You're not just going to take it to market and be done with it. You're responsible for managing the product as an ongoing business, as a going concern. So you need to evolve the product, you need to grow the product, you need to cross-sell, you need to upsell, you need to do customer development, you need to do product development further, which is new releases, line extensions, product expansion, as well as driving primary growth, and also at the end of the life cycle, killing products, right? End of life cycle management. So here we're going to talk about the entire product evolution process and how do you do the release planning? How do you actually do sort of customer expansion and product expansion? How do you manage the life cycle and sunsetting of products? And what are some strategies for driving growth? A very popular idea that's coming from Silicon Valley is growth hacking and running experiments. And we'll see how you can use AI tools to do these growth hacking experiments. And in your final assignment, you notice that there's a thread that's carrying your final assignment through. Here, you're going to design a growth plan that evolves your product to versions and feature sets, as well as sort of, definition of what your growth path and future versions of your product are going to look like. Finally, when we get to module 8, we focus on a very, very important topic that is not part of this life cycle. We're done with the life cycle of the product, right? We talked about evolution and growth and sunsetting. That was the last thing in module 7. So module 8 talks about a completely different idea that is very, very important. That is communication skills and influence skills. Folks, you got to understand that product managers have a lot of responsibility, but they don't necessarily have the same level of authority. So you will need to get your work done through persuasion, through influence, as opposed to command or coercion. So influencing without authority and being effective communicators is key to the success of product managers. These are what we call soft skills. But the funny thing is, soft skills, I believe, are the hardest. This is the most difficult aspect of being a good product manager. So we'll talk about how you influence different stakeholders. By the way, these stakeholders can be engineering, they can be executives, they can be investors, they can be customers, and you need influence strategies. And how do you drive effective communication? How do you deal with tough communication situations where, for instance, you're dealing with a pet project that your CEO might have, and you need to argue against it. You're arguing against engineering because they want to take a product in a different direction. How do you have these courageous and difficult conversations? And we're going to talk about how we build a stakeholder influence strategy that looks at across all of these audiences and make sure that you are advocating for the customer, that you are putting your point of view across. And you're doing it in a way where you're telling effective stories, you're driving effective communication, you're driving executive presence, and you're getting your voice heard and your point of view communicated. So here you're going to actually, in your assignment, go through a communication strategy exercise where you're going to build a pitch for a tough product decision. And we're going to use structured frameworks, such as the situation complication resolution, which I call the SCR framework, or the pyramid principle, which is the structure of a pitch. So this is where you're going to practice how to come up with effective pitches, which you're going to be doing every day. As a product manager, you're going to be pitching an idea to an investor, to an engineering team member, to sales, to marketing, to executives. So this is the final module, and the reason I put this at the end, because I think that we need to end at a high note, end at an inspirational note, end on a sort of a positive note, and that is what effective communication is about. So that is your learning journey and the 8 modules that you're going to go through in the program. And as we go through these program and the modules, one of the questions I get asked very commonly is, what are the different industries we're going to cover, what are the case studies we're going to cover. Rest assured that I have mapped a variety of industries and a variety of scenarios, both for your the videos and the modules that I've created, but also in your capstone assignment. So in your capstone assignment, for instance, we've given you a choice of 6 different scenarios that you can pick. Some are B2B, some are B2C. In one case, something as technical as building a B2B SaaS organization for enterprise operations, which is the Edge Core assignment, or something cute like a Weekender, which is a travel and lifestyle app, is consumer facing. So you can pick whatever you feel more strongly about, and you can design your capstone experience personalized based on your preferences. So that is the learning journey. That is the capstone and industry inspired case scenarios that you'll be given to work on. And now I turn it over to Jessica to tell you a little bit more about how the experience itself will unfold.
Thank you very much, Professor Sani, for the detailed description of the course and the learning journey. And so I'll take it back now for a few more minutes to explain a little bit what to expect in terms of activities, in terms of experience throughout the program. So this program is asynchronous, of course, but we did include some live session with the faculty to give you the opportunity not just to connect and network between the participants of the course, but also to hear live from Professor Sahani here, exchange ideas, explore different strategies, collaborations, and really learn from the best. Some more key program features that distinguish this AI-driven product program. We have peer learning it has a future-focused curriculum, meaning that it's keeping up with all the quick changes that AI is bringing to this world. You'll of course hear from Professor Sahani, our expert faculty. And the assignments are all Gen AI driven, so they are really on topic with the course. As you just heard, you will read about some industry-inspired case studies, and you will utilize some successful and proven frameworks throughout the program. You will also have access to an exclusive AI resource library. You will have the opportunity to ask questions and exchange ideas with weekly office hours. And as I mentioned earlier, it is an asynchronous program, and so it is all self-paced. Upon completion of the program, you will receive a certificate of completion. This program is graded as a pass or fail, but the participant must earn a grade of 80% to obtain the certificate of completion. The certificate of completion is completely digital. It does not grant you alumni status to Kellogg's Northwestern University, but it will state that you have successfully completed the program. Last but not least, some fee and financing options. So all of our participants can benefit from a range of different financing options, whether you're taking the course as an individual or whether you're taking a course as an organization. So we do offer some referral benefits. So in case you know somebody or a friend that wants to take the course as well, we do offer also group enrollment benefits, a flexible payment plan, and employer sponsorship. At the bottom of this slide, you can scan 2 QR codes. The first one is to apply directly to the program, and the second one is to schedule a call with one of our Emeritus advisors in case you want to maybe ask a few more questions to really understand what your options are and whether this program is good for you. Oh. And we'll move on to Q&A now. So let me read the first one. Kailash is asking what makes this program especially suitable for senior product manager executives?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. We've as you've listened to what I've described in the program, you notice that the emphasis is on strategy. The emphasis is on decisions that mid-level and senior level product executives need to make. This is not a program for entry level people learning to do the IC or individual contributor level of work. For that, we have the 6 month professional certificated product management. So the point of view that I have taken, the altitude at which I have designed this program is for people who have, somewhere around 10 years of experience, plus or minus a few years, and are looking to step into the next level of their career, where they go beyond being individual contributors to leaders. So you're going to learn the kinds of things that you need to deal with at that level. Hence the emphasis on soft skills. Hence the emphasis on product strategy. Hence the emphasis on thinking about the product roadmaps and how you incorporate AI throughout the entire program. So this is very much designed for people who are aspiring to be product leaders, who are sort of in the middle of their careers. If you are at the higher level, then we have a third program, as I said, which is the Chief Product Officer program. So I've designed these three programs as a pyramid based on your level of career progression. And this is sort of the mid career level program. So the average experience that people have who take this particular program is somewhere between 10 and 15 years. So it's a pretty good crowd. And I'll also mention that part of the value here is also the quality of the cohort that you're going to be in.
Thank you. And I think Guillermo question is building on some of the things you just mentioned. Is asking what is left out of this program in order to make it 2 months when compared to longer ones at Kellogg. Breadth, depth.
That's a good question. I mean, I could make this program 6 months long. I could make it a year long. So the one thing that I have not compromised on is the end-to-end, cradle to grave life cycle view of product creation and product commercialization. So that is, so I made sure that I have not compromised on missing out any aspect of product strategy or the jobs to be done. Now, that said, if I had more time, I would go deeper into, say, design thinking. I would go deeper into prototyping and wireframing tools and techniques. So I think that there are areas where we have stayed at a more strategic level. We could get more tactical. We could get more tool oriented. But again, I don't think that is needed for people who are looking to sort of make strategic decisions, right? As opposed to having to do the tactical work themselves. Because you also have to keep in mind, folks, that 8 weeks is a long time. And what we're finding is that, even that is challenging for busy people like you to carve out that much time. So if we make the program any longer, we're going to lose people. We're going to lose the completion. We're very proud of our completion rates. They're, over 90%. So people actually take the program, they complete it. So it's a balancing act, right? I mean, how broad do I want to go? How deep want to go? How long I want to go? How short I want to go? So I think on balance, what we've tried to do is to make sure that we're covering the entire landscape end to end of what the product creation and commercialization looks like. And we're staying at the level of strategic decisions. And that's how we sort of managed to fit it within the 8 module framework.
Thank you. And we have a few questions from Julia. The first one is, are we going to discuss the generation of a product-specific business case that encompasses projected revenues and projected cost for the minimum viable product and the ideal one?
Julia, absolutely. In fact, if you look at what I discussed in the terms of the capstone, you saw the different scenarios. Well, what the scenario is you're given a concept, and your job through the program is to take that concept all the way to an MVP and beyond, including go-to-market strategy. So, absolutely, you're going to be working on a specific product idea. I won't call it a business case, but it's an idea. The business case is part of the idea. And you're going to be shepherding that idea through all the stages, all the way to a go-to-market strategy. So indeed, it is designed to apply the principles to a real business case or real business problem. And we've given you, we have, I think, half a dozen of these different scenarios. You can pick any one of them that is closest to your interests. Some of you are interested in B2B, others are interested in B2C. Some want to do deep tech, others want to do more consumer-facing tech. We have different scenarios. So what is the scenario? It's really a business case.
The second question is, are we going to look at pricing and sensitivity analysis based on scenarios of price evolution? I wonder if we will be able, with AI, to anticipate trends that may affect prices in the long term.
Yeah, so absolutely. In fact, one of the frameworks that we are going to cover in the pricing is a framework called the Van Westendorp model. So the Van Westendorp model, what it does is it helps you to define the willingness to pay and measure the willingness to pay based on a series of questions that kind of triangulate the range of acceptable prices and the optimal price. And you can actually look at sensitivity analysis in that context, saying if we put the price at this level, what is our anticipated revenue going to be? But that is based on a survey-based technique. The problem in doing experimentation with pricing is, frankly, sometimes it's illegal. So Amazon actually got into trouble some years ago where they randomized the URLs and they put different prices for different customers. By the way, you know that the Robinson-Patman Act forbids you from doing third-degree price discrimination, which means that the same customer or two different customers cannot be offered different prices if they have access to if they want the exact same product. So you have to be careful how you do price experimentation. So price sensitivity analysis can be done based on surveys and experiments, but perhaps not necessarily in the market. With that said, we will talk about how the optimization of the SKU strategy and how you price the different versions of your product affects the pricing, and what is the sensitivity of the outcomes to the where you set the prices and what are the features that you put into the different product, right? So, and of course, you can use AI to do simulations on this, but the real challenge in doing pricing experiments is getting real customer data from the marketplace. Now, you can, of course, what AI can help you to do is as you're in the market, it can see what is the price sensitivity. It can help you to understand demand elasticity. It can help you to do A/B testing when you are in the market with your product.
And the last from Julia, I believe, is more of a comment, but she is interested to learn how we can build disruptive, more brave strategy betting on future needs that don't exist yet and still be able to build compelling cases that influence decisions.
Absolutely. I think that it is very, very important for you to uncover opportunities and needs that customers don't even know that they had. Nobody asked for an iPhone. Nobody asked for a cell phone. Steve Jobs was famous for saying that people don't know what they want unless you show it to them. But what that means is you have to have the imagination, you have to have the creative understanding of customers' unspoken problems and unarticulated needs that you can then translate into compelling products. So it's not that Apple doesn't do user research, that Apple doesn't understand customers. They have good intuition about what are the pain points, what are the problems. So as a product manager, it's very important for you not only to understand customers better than competition, but you have to understand customers better than the customers understand themselves. So you have to show them a future that they didn't even know was possible. And that is where it is. What you can learn from surveys and focus groups is very limited, because in surveys and focus groups, you're trying to ask customers, what do you want? And they can only give you a limited answer. But ethnography, customer observation, customer visits, where you silently observe some of the workarounds and the pain points and the problems, will give you ideas and imagination about what can be done. Now, let me share a personal example with you. I told you that one of the ventures I'm working on is designing a AI-driven platform for teaching and learning that enhances teaching and learning outcomes. So one of the problems that I have experienced as a teacher is when I do a case discussion, some students don't talk, and the discussion is good in some ways, but some points get missed, or I find students are struggling with certain concepts. But there's no way for me to track that formally. I do the case discussion and I come and I say, and I then basically grade people based on what I thought they said. So I come up with the idea, why not record the class, which we do anyway, right? We record classes, and then the AI can transcribe the class, go through the conversation and the discussion, and then compare that to my learning objectives and see what I was actually trying to do to teach in the case and say, here's where the discussion fell short, here's where the discussion was strong, here's where the discussion was weak. And then it can give me that feedback to fine tune the feedback that students the feedback that I give to the students, or to do a remedial session, or the next time I teach the case, give me guidance. So that's an example of something that a professor doesn't even know is possible. But what if I can create a adaptive learning system that helps you to optimize the case discussion? So that is the idea. You got to understand what problems people are facing today. You have to understand the pain points that they're experiencing. Even if they are not able to tell you, this is where I really believe in observation, ethnographic research, and the emerging domain of product telemetry. Telemetry tells you, how people are using your products, where they're getting stuck. And now if you make SaaS products or you have sensors on your products, you get a lot of interesting data.
Thank you. And we have one more question from Mark. Any thoughts on traditional versus AI-driven strategies? How much will AI replace human effort?
So first of all, I don't like the word replace, Mark. I think AI doesn't replace humans or human effort. It does, but more importantly, AI augments human capacity. AI augments. So in fact, I think in AI should be augmented intelligence, not artificial intelligence. So what AI will do for you as a product manager is speed you through the tasks that require a lot of grunt work, a lot of data collection, a lot of industry and market analysis. That can be done very, very quickly with AI. But what it will do is it will free you up to do the higher order questions like, how can I creatively solve this problem? What is the story that I'm creating? What is the vision for my product? So I think what is really important for you as a product manager to master is how you work in partnership with AI, how you co-create and collaborate with AI, and how do you do creative conversations with AI so that, by effective prompting, by iterative questioning, through dialogue crafting, through conversation crafting, get AI to help you. By the way, as we reach the agentic world, and this is the other venture that I was telling you about that I'm building called Yugamastra, where what we are doing is saying, listen, let's look at all the jobs that product managers do. So I looked at what product managers do, and I broke that into macro jobs, meso jobs, and micro jobs. And at the micro job level, we have over 200 little activities that you do as a product manager. And now we are saying, how can each of these jobs be assisted by agents or agentic AI? And then when as a product manager, you say, I want to build an MVP, that building an MVP requires workflows. Workflows involve tasks, and tasks require jobs to be done. And those jobs to be done can be enabled by agents. In some cases, the agents will do the task themselves. In other cases, the human and agent will work together. In another case, the agent will simply tee up some information that the human needs to analyze. So either the human is leading, or AI is leading, or it's a partnership. So we are deconstructing the work of product managers, and we are looking at each task and then doing the human AI pairing. And when we put that all together, we are able to create a workflow that makes the product managers 2x, 3x, 10x more productive. So AI is going to amplify you. AI is going to augment you. And when you are in danger of replacement, I like to say AI will not replace you or take away your job, but somebody using AI better than you will. So you have to be a power user. You have to be the thought leader in using these tools. And once you do that, your competitive advantage personally, your career will be huge. And that is the entire motivation of why I redesigned this program around AI driven or AI first product strategy, because I really believe that AI is the enabler, right? It is really kind of like a nuclear weapon at your command. But at the end of the day, you hold the steering wheel, you decide where the car is going. It's just that AI will help you with the autopilot decisions that it can now make for you. So it's really about how human oversight, human creativity, and human intuition gets married with AI scale, speed, and reach to create better outcomes. And I couldn't have summarized the intent of this course better than in that statement. That is what AI driven product strategy is about, and that is what we're going to focus on in this program. So, thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope that the description of the program as well as these questions have amplified your understanding, and I hope to see all of you join us in the program that we're launching soon.
Yes, thank you so much for everybody for your questions, and thank you everybody for joining. The questions were great, and I think that we all have a better understanding and insights about what this program is about. And yes, there are no more questions at the moment, so I think we can start wrapping things up. On behalf of Emeritus, thank you so much, everybody, and thank you, Professor Sohani, for joining. And yes, we truly hope that you enroll in the course and you enjoy the course. Bye, and have a good rest
Thank you
of your
so
day.
much.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.